Is Israel controlling America? I've seen a lot of podcasters that I actually really respect here recently, basically saying that as if it's just fact that everybody knows, and they don't really like it, and they're kind of upset about it. Are you anti-Israel or pro-Israel? And everyone seems to get very heated about this topic. So I want to look into that today and really figure out, is Israel controlling America? Now, hopefully we don't use the tactics of the left where we start demonizing each other. And I've seen a lot of people, I guess on the pro-Israel side, will call everyone who doesn't agree with them anti-Semitic, Jew haters, so on and so forth. And then everybody on the anti-Israel side acts like everybody else is like neocons and wants endless wars and a lot of terrible things. And of course, there are real neocons and there are real neo-Nazis in this country and around the world. But the vast majority of people in this debate are not either one of those things. Both views can be reasonable, both views can be rational, and we shouldn't, go to those conclusions. So I've tried to really look into this. Is Israel controlling America? I've tried to learn. And so I've asked a lot of people, mainly on social media, that believe this. What's the evidence? Can you explain to me why you think that? And the number one thing is, by far, is lobbying and funding and support for pro-Israel causes here in America, and that's what's controlling them. It's money, basically. Israel has got everybody paid off to be pro-Israel, so on and so forth. And so what they're talking about is lobbying. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about what lobbying is. Is lobbying a terrible thing? Not necessarily. It's like if someone tells you a gun is bad, you say, no, a gun isn't bad. A gun is a tool. It can be used for bad or it can be used for good. Or if someone said the internet is bad, same thing. Well, lobbying can be used for bad and it can be used for good. All that lobbying is supporting people who you feel like agree with your cause and continuing to support them. And a lot of these people are politicians. Every country of the world has people who are Americans within America that support them in one form or another. And they will, donate to leaders and politicians to get their support. Most of your lobbying, though, comes from businesses. So like maybe pharma or maybe oil and gas, whatever the case. There's all kinds of industries that will support politicians and leaders with large sums of money to get them to get their support if they support them. But even a cause like climate change or, there's pro-choice lobbying, there's pro-life lobbying. So there's lobbyists for every cause, for every organization, for every country really in the world here in America. I have no money, but if I had a lot of money and I was rich all of a sudden, one thing I probably would do would be financially support some causes that I really believed in. And for me personally, I'm very pro-life. And so like here in Missouri, if somebody was on TV and they were campaigning to be a state representative or something, and they were very pro-life and saying a lot of pro-life things, and I thought if they get into office, they're going to be pro-life, I would probably support them if I had the money to do so. Do you know what that would make me? A lobbyist. Even though I'm coming at it from a pure heart and for nothing bad, it would make me a lobbyist. And then let's say that that person does get elected, and then at some point they totally change and they become pro-choice, and I wouldn't support him anymore. I would pull my support. And if they ever ran for office again and they needed money, I would not support them because they went against what I thought they stood for. If you look at this from a cynical view, you're going to assume that people are just, lobbyists are just going to every politician and saying, I'll give you X amount of money if you do X, Y, and Z. And then some do and some don't. And the people who do are paid off and they don't really care about the cause or the business or the country. They just do it to get paid. Obviously, that happens sometimes. Obviously, that has happened in the past. But to assume that that's everybody is a little crazy. Usually, it'll be a common interest. The person receiving the support really does care about that issue. And they are really going to try to fight for that cause if they get in office. And so that's usually what it is. So I've said all that to say this: just because Israel has lobbyists that are pro-Israel, does that mean they're controlling America? Well, let's look at some numbers. Now, I got this off of, I think it's Open Secrets website. If you think these numbers are wrong and you have better numbers, please explain to me in the comments what a better source would be. But here's their numbers that they've tallied up. This is from 1998 up until today in 2025. The top lobbyist sectors: the pharmaceuticals, $6.3 billion; insurance number 2, $3.7 billion; electric utilities, $3.2; business associations, $3 billion; oil and gas, $2.9 billion; hospitals, nursing homes, $2.5 billion. Nowhere in there was there Israel. But you might say, well, yeah, that's the big lobbyist. But when it comes to like foreign affairs, foreign policy, that's where Israel really is like the most influential, the biggest, the most powerful. That's really where they're pulling the strings. Same website. This is from 2016 up until today. And so just in case you're not aware, I believe it's illegal for people outside the U.S. to be lobbyists. So this would be people from within the country. Top 10 lobbyist dollars by country: China, $521 million; Japan, $438 million; Liberia, that's weird, $353 million; Saudi Arabia, $344 million; South Korea, $327 million; Marshall Islands, $285 million; Qatar, $260 million; Bahamas, that's very odd to me, $255 million; the United Arab Emirates, $246 million; Israel, $195 million. So Israel's not number 1, number 2, or number 3. They're 10th on that list. And by the way, 3 countries from the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, are also on that list and have more dollars from lobbying than does Israel. Now, one person's name that has been brought up a lot is Sheldon Adelson, who donated to Trump. Donated quite a bit of money to Trump, especially I think in 2016, but he has continued to be a supporter. I think he actually has passed away, but his wife is still donating. And they are Jews, and they're very pro-Israel. But do you know who the biggest donor to Donald Trump has been? At least in the last election. And it's not even close. It was Elon Musk. In fact, in totality, he's probably donated double the amount that Sheldon has. And you know Elon Musk's not a Jew. And he has really no interest in pro-Israel stuff. And here recently in the Big Beautiful Bill, there was subsidies taken away from the electric vehicle industry and solar, 2 things that Elon is involved in. Kind of made Elon mad. And so his biggest donor, he didn't go out of his way to do what he wanted him to do. So it kind of doesn't seem to me like there's really much evidence that Israel controls America or that they control Donald Trump. In fact, the evidence would seem to suggest no. But then what I found the response to be to the things I've just showed you is, well, it's not strictly money. It's more about the influence. The most influential lobbyists is Israel. And just from looking at this from, a common sense perspective and a rational perspective, what I think is happening is there is a lot of support for Israel, probably more than most countries in the world. Whatever you want to call it, Zionism, or I think it's legit. There really is a lot of pro-Israel support within America. But I think what people are missing is it's organic. It's not they're getting paid to do anything. It's not that they're being controlled. They just simply, truly like Israel, and they want to support Israel. So I would say it's a myth. And I think the evidence I've showed today debunks it. There's no evidence or no substantial evidence that shows that Israel is controlling America. What I see is a lot of people really do like Israel and want to support Israel from a sincere perspective.